Here we are, day 19. We are on our third and last little segment of creating the plan, the freedom plan. Okay, so day 19 of 21, and we are going to do a little bit of number crunching today. And so I can't give you an exact way to do this. This is really going to have to come from your knowing about your business and some of the work that you've already done. So we talked about the 4 systems that have to be in place for the business, right? Marketing, sales, operations or fulfillment, and financial. And you know which parts of those you're going to do, if any, and which parts you plan to outsource. So that is going to give you a good indication of what kind of an investment you're going to need to make in your business going forward. So what we're going to look at today is how to break down those percentages. So this is going to be like really, really high level. So if you've been doing a P&L and you have some idea, which I hope you do, of how you've been spending your money and allocating your resources within your business, then this will be easier for you. If you haven't been doing that, this will be a whole new exercise. So the first number that I want you to write on the paper is the amount of money, that freedom money, that you personally want to generate for yourself this year. Now, the caveat here is we're not going to get involved in the taxes part of it, because depending upon how your business is structured, there's going to be a different level of taxes that you're going to owe on the money that you generate for yourself. And so what I'm going to be talking about here is really before taxes money. Okay. So if you're in an LLC, and this is US based, I don't even know how it works in other countries, but if you're in an LLC, you're carrying that money over into your personal tax return. And I don't know what other kind of money you're bringing in. So maybe you're going to be in different tax brackets. If you've got a corporation, it's a whole different structure. If you're payroll, it's a whole different structure. So we're just going to look at this one number. Okay. So I want you to put that number down. Now, I want you to write a percentage next to that number. And that percentage is what you feel based on what you know about the way you're running your business, or you want to run your business in order to have freedom. What percentage of the gross revenue is actually going to come back into your pocket? Now, this could also include profit and that sort of thing. So, I got Michelle on here. She's my accounting person. So she'll be like, you're kidding me. You're doing it this way? Yeah, this is the way we're doing it, because what we're doing today is really high level stuff, right? It's just like, let's get an idea of how you want your business to look in terms of expense and income. Okay, so you got the number, and the number is what percentage. So just to give you some idea about people who are in the coaching and consulting business, sometimes people are bringing in 40%, which is actually a good number, 60-40. That 60% is going back into the business, 40% is going back to you. You may want that number to be 50-50. You may want it to be 60-40, but something in that range is probably one of the right things for you. And you may decide to change that a little bit, because you may not like the way the numbers look when you're all done. So this is what we have to figure out, though. This is what gives us the freedom plan. So take that number, whatever it is, and divide it by whatever percentage you just gave it. So if it's 50%, then obviously the total revenue that you have to bring in is going to be double whatever that number is. So let's just make it clear. If you decided that your number is 250,000, then that's your bottom line number that you want to see. And the top line number has to be double that, so that you can have 50% of it, right? So 500,000. Okay. Now, there are two other things that I want, actually three other things that I want you to write down. One is sales, one is marketing, and the third is, let's call it operations. So people, operating expense. So here are the things that you should think about in each one of these areas. Number one, if you are planning to outsource your sales, in other words, you're going to have a salesperson who is going to be selling your programs for you, then you need to put that number at least 20%, because there's going to be expense there of commissions and probably some level of management expense as well to keep a team functioning. So you're going to put 20 next to sales. Next to marketing, in kind of looking across the board at different online businesses and that sort of thing, it's going to be anywhere from 10 to 20%. So 15 is a good number to put there for now. 15% of your total revenue is going to go toward your marketing. And for the operating expense, that leaves 15. And so those would be the numbers that you would use if you were 50% for you. So now, reality is you have to really look at this and say, is this doable for me, right? If I'm spending 20% on sales and, the 15% on marketing, is that really what it's going to cost? What's included in marketing? So what I want you to think about in marketing is, is somebody handling your social media? Are you paying somebody for that? Are you paying someone to create content for you? Are you doing a podcast like I do? Are you hiring virtual assistants to do your LinkedIn? Are you paying for Facebook ads? Are you paying some agency to manage your marketing for you? So whatever that is, figure that out, right? What would that dollar figure look like? So in our little world here, let me get my calculator because it's late in the day and I can't think anymore. So if we were going to say, why can't I make this work? So 15% of 500,000, 75,000. So these are yearly figures, obviously, for marketing. Same thing for operations. So you want to know, well, what are we putting under the umbrella of operations, right? So for the purposes of this exercise, you're thinking about everything else, right? You're thinking about, do you have an office? What are you paying for subscriptions? What are you paying for your telecom and your internet and blah, 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 all that good stuff, technology. What kind of, are you in memberships? Like this is a good place where you could actually put your coaching, mentorship that you're paying for. Maybe there's a CFO, hopefully, or somebody doing at least your bookkeeping that will come under there. Travel. Are you doing business travel? So kind of lump all those other things in there. So what you're really trying to do is come up with this idea that, okay, if I am going to get this freedom, financial freedom, and looking back at what I'm willing to invest in time in my business, what am I needing to spend? Like, how much money do I need to invest in these other things? Now, why does this give you freedom? Obviously, because if you know that you have a plan in place where you can generate that $500,000, then you know that you can spend the money because you're going to get the result that you want. So this is a way to really get real and look at what would this freedom plan actually look like. This plan that I created that I want this business to do, the things I don't want to do in the business that I know I have to outsource to someone, what's that expense going to look like? So here's the thing. A lot of people make the mistake of going into their business and they say, well, I want to go make $250,000 and I don't want to expend any money to do that. I just want to do that. And I think most of you realize by now, to get that $250,000, you're not going to have any freedom. Because if you're doing everything in the business yourself, then you have lost your ability to live the lifestyle that you want and have the time freedom that you want. So we have to figure out what is the real number that you have to generate in the business and what's the cost to get that number, so that you still will have financial freedom, time freedom, lifestyle freedom, right? So this is a wake-up call in some ways to look at your business in a little different way. And it's also a great way to feel a little more comfortable about making investments in your business, but also making smarter investments. So you know how we talked about what needs to go. So you may be spending money right now on things that are just like not making you money. So now, as you look at what you're going to put your money into in your business, right? What is this travel that I'm doing actually going to get me more money on that top line? Because you don't need to worry about the bottom line. You need to worry about the top line. So is this person that I'm paying actually generating revenue on my top line, right? Is this marketing that I'm doing actually resulting in something that's generating that $500,000, if that's the number that you're looking at? So this is like super shifting a different way of looking at your business. Instead of like kind of flying by the seat of your pants, you're actually going out there with a plan. Now, you could tweak these percentages. So for some of you, you may be saying, you know, yeah, I need 250,000, but for me to go and get 500,000 in my business right now, maybe is a little bit not going to happen. I think it's possible. Anything's possible once you set your mind to it, and then you get some help, right? So make sure that in your operating budget, you have a mentor in there. Or maybe if you're working with somebody like me, who is a sales mentor, that could go into your sales part of it. And Tobin, my partner, if you're working with both of us together, then you've got the marketing and the sales covered. But these are the things that you have to really be thinking about, because you are not trying to drive bottom line number. You're trying to drive a top line number, which is ultimately going to make sure that everything else is going to be covered. But in order to drive that top line number, you have to be willing to put that investment and take that expense piece of it and say, yeah, okay, I see why that expense is going to be required to get to this top line number. So, you know, hey, this is entrepreneurship in its rawness, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. It's scary sometimes, because a lot of us have gone into our business thinking, I'm going to make the money and then I'm going to invest, when the reality is that isn't how it works. So that's my tidbit for today. This is probably the longest one that we've done, but I think it's probably one of the most important ones. But if we had tried to do this back on day 2 or 3, you wouldn't have been through the exercise that we've been going through to really define, like, what is a freedom shift business? Like, what does that freedom business look like for you? So now you've got it, and we still have a couple days. So we're going to be working on kind of how are we going to make this all happen now, right? What's the plan? Well, we have the plan, but what's the next stage of the plan? So that's it. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And I will be back with day 20 tomorrow. We're already on day 9. Wow, 19, I mean. It's been fun. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.